So, Bobby and Sam, first, thank you for joining us today, sincerely. We'd like to ask our guests about their journey into early care and childcare. Bobby, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started and how PB&J TV started?
Absolutely. And first off, thank you so much for having us. It's certainly a
Yeah.
treat to be here with you guys and have Sam on as well.
Hmm.
So as far as backstory and journey, PB&J TV was a good old American dorm room startup for me. My oldest brother is my business partner. He's our CTO, and he at the time was really on the cusp of media and streaming in his career at the time. So it was right at the '08 recession. He was also on a sprint to be a rock star at the time too, but happened to have twins. God decided otherwise, and at the time it was how was he going to pay for daycare? Being a traveling rock star, and he happened to get laid off in the '08 recession, and he had twins on the way, and it was how can we help afford daycare? We were brainstorming. I happened to be at LSU at the time in Baton Rouge. He was, right down the road. So it was a culmination of leveraging Rick's nerd skills and uh, the product he needed, which was preschool for his twins. And we kind of came up with this concept of streaming live video to moms and dads. And we actually piloted our first program at his preschool. And it was a trade off, a barter. He got free daycare, and we got our first pilot. And at that point, we kind of realized, okay, maybe this could be a thing. And we did a conference, CCAL, Childcare Association of Louisiana, which is right over by LSU there, and there was some interest. And Louisiana in itself is a little behind in tech, but they have quickly are catching up. But it was just a really good sample set for us of like the interest that was shown and what could be done. Um, and then I started scheduling classes Tuesday and Thursday, and then we would uh, jump in my truck on a Thursday after class. We'd drive over to Houston and install locations in Houston's on a weekend and be back to school for Monday for class on Tuesday, kind of thing. So that was like the genesis story. At the beginning, I was installing after hours because you can't install systems while kids are in the preschool, and then I would pick up for phone support at 7 a.m. So it was like really no sleep like those first few years. And while we started, almost 10 plus years ago, I would say we really have gotten traction and are scaling tremendously now within the past like 3 years. And really excited about what we're doing, where we're going, the team we're building, the culture, we have here, and what we're bringing to the industry is something we're really excited about here.
Yeah, I wasn't at CCAL, although I wished I would have been. I know that conference well, so I can picture the faces
Oh
that you
yeah.
were likely to be speaking to at the time. We'll have to
And
talk
I
about
was
that later.
I was full blown babyface. I must have been like 19 or 20 at the time. It's crazy. I was in over my head, but I was ambitious. I knew this was going to be a good product in time, and a need for the industry as technology progressed.
That's such a great Genesis story. I'm so intrigued, and I remember seeing PB&J with Sam the first time at a conference and thinking that's revolutionary. It's going somewhere. That's congratulations. I mean, that's good stuff.
Oh man,
So
Sam is such a good brand ambassador. I always tell everyone needs to find them a Sam on their team.
so true. Everyone
Man,
needs a Sam.
standards. Those are tall, man. Okay.
So, Bobby, our topic today is safer schools and smarter operations. So, what does that mean to you?
um, for us, we're based, technology is where we are, right, and where we live, and where we see the industry going over the next 5, 10 years is safer schools and smarter schools are going to need to leverage technology in a very efficient and smart way, um, supplying the tools that they need to operate more efficiently. And I know that's key I repeat that only because it is so key, because you talk about staffing crisis and hiring, and for us here at PB&J TV, we even see the role as the director evolving over the next 5 to 10 years because of the advent of what we're doing with video AI, and just different technology applications that are being integrated into preschool, day-to-day preschool operations, and how um, for us, one of the big focuses is the unification of the technology too. So, PB&J speaking to management softwares on site, speaking to other technologies like yourselves, to make it a more seamless operation. These directors and these teachers, they have a lot to worry about, and multiple apps on their screens and multiple browsers. I mean, it's just not going to won't be the end game, where tech is going in the industry. So making sure we are building a platform that can speak to all technology, and then really leaning into a safer school, smarter operations tool chest, as we deploy our features and expand our services.
I happen to agree with you. And you're doing some remarkably forward-thinking improvements. So,
Yeah,
Sam,
thank you.
let me ask you: Can you tell us a little bit about the transition you've seen from fear of the cameras to embracing transparency?
Sure. I think it has a lot to do and a correlation with even us as a company and the journey that we've gone on since day one too, right? So we really launched into the market as a connecting families mindset. That was really where we were going. It was our mission to connect as many people as possible with their kids throughout the day, and then to have this almost like joint mindset between child, parent, and teacher. We wanted everybody to be on the same page. We wanted mom and dad to be a part of everything that was going on in the center so they could reinforce it at home, and have this broadcasting learning was really what we built everything around initially. And then as we've progressed as a company, excuse me, that mindset has shifted to just connecting families to, as Bob kind of mentioned, this holistic approach of everything that we can do in and day out. And that mindset to mom and dad is crucial. So if they're looking at it as just a camera and it's just a window, they're loving it, and then sometimes maybe the school is not at that point in time. And like as you mentioned, there's a little bit of fear in that aspect, but the reality is the more that we can teach the industry and show proof that this is a positive reinforcement of the things that you guys are doing to help them, then it is slowly moved the needle every year that we've been doing this. And then, as Bob mentioned, the more we can add on to that and be a all-encompassed program that gives them so many tools in the toolbox, it is really just part of a great approach in the industry nowadays that a lot of franchises are built on parent engagement and parent streaming, and it's really a huge feature for them.
If you don't mind me adding into that, I mean, we could see the growth and the trend lines on our end as far as the industry embracing live streaming over the past 3 to 5 years. I think there is a shift in, parents. You got millennial moms coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of becoming an expectation. They can see their dog at doggy daycare, but uh, when they drop their child off, they're gonna want to see their child. And then, I think there's also, as we educate more and more of the industry, there's a light bulb or a realization of all the things that we've learned over the decade that we've been doing this, about all the features and ways to deploy such a program and such a parent engagement experience in a very safe, secure, and fun way. We're doing things, simple features of like 10 logins a day for 10 minutes each session. And then, parents are only tuning into their classroom during these scheduled times. And then we recently just launched event streaming, which is not this like free play concept where mom and dad can only log in between like 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. during school operations, but actually leaning into more valued streaming. So the school is scheduling a really fun event. Let's just say Dino Dig Up at 2 p.m. on Tuesday for the toddler classroom or something like that. So they're scheduling these really cool, engaging events. The classrooms, all staged, the teachers, on their toes, the kids are completely engaged in what's going on, and mom gets an in-app notification say, hey, tune in for Dino Dig Up in 5 minutes. Wow, that is such an impactful, viewing opportunity to show parents all the amazing thing that you guys do throughout the day with their children. Sometimes they get a report at the end of the day, whether it's digital or on paper, and sometimes that's not enough to, convey all the great things you guys are doing throughout the day. And one, it keeps mom engaged to what their child's doing and how the child's learning, and gets to reinforce that education at home. The trend lines are increasingly moving towards parent engagement with live streaming.
I love that. I think that was a well told story. I mean, what working parent who's away from their child so long during the day doesn't want to log in for Dino Dig Up with her
Of
toddler,
course. Of course.
during the middle of the day?
Right.
Great brain break for her, great way for her to feel connected and have a solid conversation at the end of the day with her child. I mean, I'm not surprised at all. I bet you have a million stories like that.
Yeah.
So talk to me just for a minute about how fulfilling this must be for the two of you. Here you started in the dorm room. It just must be so fulfilling to be 10 years later, seeing how you are bringing families, teachers, parents, everyone together that way.
Sam, if you don't mind, I'll jump in and then you can follow up on this.
You go
I guess.
first.
Honestly, I don't, I may have just said this to my team. I don't think you can try and see as far as you can in the future when you first start a company, like, oh, we're going to be at this many locations. It's going to be amazing. But to say we would be at thousands of locations, globally operating in preschools, all across the world, with the growth rates that we're still seeing, means that, the industries are really leaning into what we're doing. And then the stories that come out of it, like you're saying, like we have a program called Classroom Hero, which is a way for schools to kind of flip the switch on the idea of a teacher being fearful of a camera being in the classroom, because at the end of the day, that camera is put in the classroom to protect the teacher. Because as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and operating the way you're supposed to be operating, I mean, that camera's there to protect you. But also, it can be used to allow families to engage. But our Classroom Hero program is a positive tool for parents while they're viewing. They'll, tell a story about, Miss Susie, or, it's little Johnny's first day, and I cannot believe how engaged Miss Susie was with her. I can't thank her enough. Yada, yada, yada. These stories come in all the time through our Classroom Hero portal. And it is just so awesome to see, one, the level of appreciation parents do have for teachers, and for us to convey that to the teachers and say, hey, look, you are doing an awesome job. These stories go right to the school. The school gets to see these Classroom Hero stories, and we do a fun, like, winner gets a cape and a $5 gift card, here at PB&J TV. But it kind of like creates this holistic approach where mom's engaging, teachers being appreciated for what she's doing in the classroom, all in benefit of the child.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps. Sam, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, it is. It's a little, I guess what I'd say is that at the end of the year, like most companies, we get together as a team, right? And we review the year, and we think about what's to come, and where we came from, and are thankful for a lot of that. And some people get really emotional during this meeting as we give out, and rightfully so, because I don't think that we always realize or come to the realization to that point the impacts we've made throughout the year and in the industry. And sometimes it's like, yes, we're connecting families and we're doing a few things, and that's great. But the reality is that over the course of 10 years, the amount of impact we've had on families, the amount of impact we've had on, and when I say families, I'm thinking, yeah, grandparents that live across the country. Those are servicemen and women who want to check in from wherever they're stationed. There's so many stories behind that, like Bob mentioned. But the reality is that this new age that we've started, from connecting families into being a safer, smarter operations, is really on the forefront of changing how things are done. And I think in another 5 years, we're going to look back at this 2023 to 2027 and really see something that blossomed and changed where we're going because of the AI and the protection that we're able to give the school and the tools on a day-to-day basis to allow the school to operate at a higher level and a lower cost point at the same time. And so there's a lot of gravity to that sometimes I sit and I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing this. This is gonna be earth shattering almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I can't wait for about another 3 years to have that conversation again and see where we are with
Well, we'll hold you to that. We'll just bring you back in a couple of years, and we'll
You want
kind
to
it.
of
schedule it now?
measure where we
Game.
are. Right? Let's
Yes.
do that for sure, because so many things are coming onto the scene right now. And like Bobby said, working together as technology partners to serve this industry is really fulfilling. So
Yes.
let me ask you both, as the stream team, I had to get that in there for anyone who's listening to the podcast who isn't able to see these two
That's funny.
guys. They do wear t-shirts or sweatshirts that say the stream team, which is lovely. And they are. Let's finish this up. We've got two questions for you here. One is, and kind of Bobby, you already alluded to this. What do you think the big changes or challenges are that are facing the industry over the next few years?
I think it's an industry that has been a little bit behind on technology and the need to embrace it quickly, but strategically, because there is a lot of tech out there. So making sure you're choosing the right tech and how it communicates to the other tech that you're using, and trying consolidating the data. Because what happens is you've got different applications, different data silos, and it's without it communicating to each other or without some kind of strategic data plan, tech may not be as efficient as you would originally hope it to be. So I think, with the advent of all this tech being brought into the industry, one is embracing it, but two is strategically embracing it as you navigate all the opportunities and options that are out there, and then what's coming. So I see an industry opportunity that needs to be done strategically.
Yeah, could I just ask one follow-up question? You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier you thought the center director role would start to change based on them embracing technology. Do you want to
Yeah.
expand on that just a little bit, or no?
Yeah, and we're already starting to dabble in some of that stuff now. But I mean, we're rolling out AI that's going to be helping directors manage their operations. For instance, ratio counting alerts and dashboards, occupancy alerts and dashboards, unattended child alerts. God forbid a child was ever left on a playground. There will always be a director. Obviously, you need someone to steer the ship, but the brain bandwidth dedicated to tasks that can be automated by technology will allow them to lean into really what matters most, which is the kids, the curriculum, and fostering a center, a cultural enrichment for the child and for the center as a whole. So I think tech is going to bring so many efficiencies over the next 5-10 years to preschool operations that the role is naturally going to evolve and allow directors to focus more on the child education than worrying about some of the day-to-day operational stuff, because we are solving and will be solving more and more of that as we move forward in this new age.
Okay, well, now before we finish up, we always like to ask people who join us, what's your personal motto or a motivational quote that really, get you going in the morning? If you'd like to share.
Sam, you go first.
Okay.
Sam is, let me just frame this up. Sam is like my little wisdom nugget. Like, he'll come into my office just check on me because he knows I'm stressed. Like, you could probably see bags underneath my eyes. So he's just like, hey, you all right? So he will drop little wisdom bombs on me all the time.
I was actually trying to think of the one I dropped on you the other day that was really good that, I'd like to say that I take credit for, but they just kind of fall into my head and then I spit them
Ah.
out. And a lot of times they sound good and sometimes they don't. So, you know what I mean? You just got to roll with it. But as far as me personally, it's actually at the bottom of most of my emails, but my motto generally is you can't take an elevator to success. You got to take the stairs. And I think that revolves around what Bob was mentioning, is that as we go through the next couple of years, everything on innovation and whether it's AI or other projects, is everybody's full throttle. It's all about hurrying up and getting it. But there's got to be a speed limit, and you got to take the right steps so it does the right way. And you're building something. You're not just trying to get there. And so I think that's what that motto kind of represents for me as well.
Well said, Sam. You're talking about being intentional. I love it. That's a great,
Yeah.
great inspirational quote. Bobby, I'm a professional motivator, and I probably delve into that content more than anyone. So I'll send you a few books you can keep in your back pocket to keep up with Sam. But you've
Uh,
got one in there. I know you do. So
oh
what's
yeah.
something that stirs you?
I always say every day we get a little better, and that's something like I've gosh, back from my high school football days, that was something my football coach would always say. Every day you get better at something, get a little better today, and it's kind of plays right into Sam's taking the stairs, because it's just building steps, right? You're going up a staircase, and as long as you're focusing on getting better at something, um, each day you keep building the snowball effect. And then something else we do here is we do what's called a team week here at the end of the year, which is like every day is like a team appreciation something. And I always try and say we have an obsession for appreciation here at PB&J TV, and I think that's a kind of a cultural thing for us, is from team leads being servant leaders, and being obsessed with appreciation at all levels, for your team, for your customers, for the opportunity to bring amazing technology to the best industry in the world. So
I don't know how you could have said it any better than that, Bobby. And
Right?
I'd say that must be a core value of the team
It
there
is.
at PB&J, and it shows up in all of your team members. Guys, sincerely, thank you for being here. It was really, really great to talk with you, and I can't wait to have you back in a couple of years.
thank you
Looking
so much,
forward to it.
Cindy. Yeah. We're excited.
Very much so. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks a lot.